Tesla approves Elon Musk's 96 million shares. I just got to do a little bit of calculation. Tesla's at $309 a share today, up almost 2.5%. $309. 309 times 96 million. Oh my God. I don't even care about money no more. I don't even care about the money no more. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. But I'ma just have the conversation just for the sake of conversation. All right. So let's deep dive into it. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Okay, we've got some breaking news just for you right now from Tesla. You'll remember back in 2018, Tesla had put together a compensation package for Elon Musk that was struck down by a judge now twice, despite shareholders voting twice in favor of that deal. Well, the board has approved a new deal, a bit of what they're describing as a make-good deal. They've approved a plan to pay him 96 million shares temporarily as this case and their appeal continues. Now, 96 million shares is the equivalent of about $30 billion. This would be a $30 billion make-good. It represents about 3% of the entire company's shares as part of the original transaction or compensation deal that was agreed upon back in 2018. He would have received, given the milestones that he surpassed, the equivalent of close to $90 billion or 9% of the company. And you'll recall that we talked about how at the time the package seemed almost impossible to achieve. He did achieve it. The shareholders voted on it twice, but a judge has disagreed with that. This plan would be, quote unquote, prospective rather than retrospective. You're not effectively allowed to pay for previous work. As part of this deal, he would be paid and those shares would vest over a 2-year term. As part of that, he would not be allowed to sell the shares, however, for another 5 years. So even though he'd be paid those shares today, he can't sell those shares for the next 5 years. He can pledge those shares so that he can effectively take out loans to pay for the taxes on the vesting of those shares. So it actually mirrors very similarly the way the original 2018 plan was set up. And if you remember, he has not been paid a dollar since the 2017 plan effectively ended. I remember talking to both of you that morning in Davos when I ultimately broke that story, that to me this was the most shareholder-friendly plan that exists. You either get paid or you don't, and it's a true pay for performance. They are saying, though, this is just a down payment, and if, in fact, the court were to approve the appeal, meaning if they were to win on appeal on the original deal, which is still in flux, this deal would go away. So effectively, there would not be a double dip in terms of how the transaction would take place. And I would also just point you to a sentence that I do think is interesting, because clearly they're starting to think not just about paying him a third, which is this $30 billion deal, but they're trying to think about what the future holds in terms of what comes next. And there's an allusion to the fact that they are reading everybody's tweets and X's. These are shareholder tweets and X's, and how they're thinking about all of these things, and also what they say is important to Elon in terms of trying to focus his energies. I think there's going to be a lot of people reading that sentence saying, well, what is it that they can do to align? They're saying that they want to keep Elon focused, and it's a first step towards achieving that goal. You might say, well, what's the next step? And they say that they are working on next steps to address that issue. There's been a lot of speculation. We've talked about it on the air before about whether potentially a Tesla could make an investment, for an example, in an XAI as another way to potentially, focus his energies. He's talked a lot about AI being the future both of Tesla, but of course he owns XAI. XAI now is actually a service that lives to some degree inside of Tesla because they have some of those features now available on the cars. It wouldn't surprise me.
So he's basically licensing a company that he created to the company that he's running, in which he's getting a payout for that also. Jesus fucking Christ. All right, so let me break down Elon Musk compensation, all right? Back in the 2010s, essentially, Elon Musk agreed to a compensation package that was tied directly to the performance of the stock and the performance of the company. So he had to hit multiple different targets, including sales targets, including manufacturing targets, including stock price targets. And the reason why shareholders, because if you go in the comments of even this video right here, people are saying, pay him his money. Pay that man, pay him his money. Pay that man his money. The reason why they are saying pay this man his money is because the shareholders got rich at the same time that Elon Musk got rich, because his compensation was not end all be all based off of whatever it is that he agreed to, regardless of what the performance of the company was. His compensation was basically help all of us get rich, and then we reward you with this huge stock compensation plan. Or if you don't hit your performance sales targets, which would have made us rich, then you don't really get a compensation at all. So why is this relevant? Why is this significant? Why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because it's not really about Elon Musk that we're preaching about right here. We're preaching about the learned lessons that come along with executive compensation and the risks that come along with starting your own company or being successful. If I was to bring in a CEO of my company and I say, listen, you take me to 5 million subscribers and you also drive me to $1 million a month in revenue, right? While at the same time reducing the amount of money that we spend in order to get there, then I will give you 10% of what it is that we generate. And then other people would say, well, that's insane, man, because you paying this guy over $1 million a year in order to run a company. Well, why wouldn't I pay him? Because his compensation is directly tied to the performance of the company. And so if I get richer, then I don't mind giving him a percentage of the revenue, because that is how executive compensation is set up. So if you look at most CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, and so on and so forth, and this is why I think that these UAW contracts and all of that, they're outdated, they're archaic, they're dinosaur contracts, because people don't want to be paid commensurate of what the performance of the company is. If you go to a startup, right, the reason why people get rich when a company IPOs, when it debuts as a public, initial public offering, is because they take less money to work for the IPO in hopes that the company will either A, be sold, or B, IPO and blow up, and that would make them incredibly rich. What people don't talk about is the amount of companies that go bust and people don't wind up making anything as a result of it. So basically, he bet on himself. He believed in what he was doing. He believed in his engineering capabilities. He believed in his ability to drive the company to higher heights and to have a greater stock price and so on and so forth. And I think that it's going to be even higher. I think that it's going to be even higher. Let me also give you some insight. Your car actually said it inside of the chat. I'm going to emphasize it here. All right. It's not just about that. It's also about the idea that you can't sell the stocks for 5 years, meaning that you just can't take your stock compensation and run. You can't pump and dump. You got to set the company up for success even after you're here, or 5 years after you get rewarded this tranche or this set of equity inside of the company. So most executives, they work for the bonuses, they work for the equity. They don't care about the base salary. The base salary is to get you by. That's what they don't mind paying taxes on. Your car said it inside of the chat. You can borrow against your shares and equity in the company because it's actually anything can be used as collateral. Any asset can be used as collateral. So now if you borrow against the shares, you actually don't even really have to pay taxes on it. Why? Because you don't have to pay taxes on a loan. Am I going too hard? Am I going too deep? Y'all would usually say pause on that. I would just say that's what she said. You guys, when you get in corporate America or when you create your own company, that's when you get really rich, is what I'm saying. When you get high in corporate America and you actually understand how to negotiate your pay packages, or you create your own company and you create a phenomenal pay package for yourself, that's how you get rich. You said you still in the UAW. I know I'm worth more. How do you know you're worth more? What makes you think that you're worth more? What actually tells you that you're worth more? I mean, it's not even about the money. I mean, Elon Musk can buy anything that he wants. I don't even think he cares about money like that anymore. But what I am saying is that we need to rethink, y'all. We got to think differently. Y'all think that we in a race war. And I titled this specifically because everything is always racist all the time. And the reason why it's always racist is because it's easier to distract you from things that's not adding value into your life if you say that something is racist.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and tap that bell notification so you can be notified next time I drop some more heat.